Peace, friends.
Peace, Mikkel.
My name is Mikkel White. I just got distracted by my kid. Okay. My name is Mikkel White. I'm the pastor here at the South Lansing campus. Joining me this morning is Teresa Miller.
Hello.
It's good to have you here with me this morning. Awesome. All right. It's a good day. It's a good day. We've got a shout-out question for you this morning. What is your favorite Christmas movie? Elf. Solid. Polar Express. I love that for you. Christmas Story. I don't know what it says about me, but I think my favorite is Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
Oh.
I know.
I think it's being a mother and having to take care of everything just kind of makes you in that Grinchy mood sometimes.
I think you might be right. And it's one that I like that no one else in my family likes. So I like to watch it when I'm like wrapping all the presents. So it just puts me in the mood to wrap presents. All right. We've got a couple of songs this morning. I'm looking forward to singing them. So stand with me and let's sing together.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, we will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world, we will sing, sing, sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders, wonders of his love. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world, we will sing, sing, sing. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, open to the sun above. Joyful, 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 we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. We will sing, 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 joy to the world. I love singing that song. It was one of the first ones I kind of ever learned a little bit of how to do on piano, but I love singing that song. And as we were putting together a set of music and a worship set, it was unplanned, but a beautiful coincidence that we were singing Joy to the World first, and then we're singing a song called Light of the World, because the joy that Jesus brings and the joy that those of us who follow Jesus bring just weaves right into how he is the light of the world, and God's light shines in and through us. So this song has some really practical ways in which that happens in the world. So as we sing it, we can place ourselves in the song as people who connect with it, but also think about those around us during this season who perhaps need the light of the world to be really present and evident. So let's sing this song together.
She's calling out from the sea of hurt. Oh come, Emmanuel. And can you hear the angels singing glory to the light of the world? Glory, the light of the world is here. Drought breaks with the tears of a mother. The baby's cry is the sound of love. Come down, Emmanuel. He is a song for the suffering. He is Messiah, the Prince of Peace. Oh, come, he has come, Emmanuel. Glory to the light of the world. Glory to the light of the world. Glory to the light of the world. The world waits for a miracle. The heart longs for a little bit of hope. Oh, come, Emmanuel.
Amen.
Song and a reminder, you guys can have a seat, of God's goodness. I don't know if you know this, but Emmanuel means God who is with us. Like God's name is God who is with us, and that's what Emmanuel means. And I love O Come, Emmanuel. I love those songs. It's just a reminder that God is with us. Now, I needed to give that little bit of a transition because at Sycamore Creek, we hit different at Christmas. And one of the ways that we hit different at Christmas is that we have snowballs that we are going to throw. And I'm a terrible thrower, but somebody get some snowballs. Throw some snowballs. We got the kids. Kids are throwing snowballs. All right. Fun. Okay. All right. You can see why I needed a little bit of a transition there. Okay, kids, you can go on up to Kids Creek. Leave the snowballs here.
They need to go in
Kids, you can go on up to Kids Creek. Don't take snowballs with you. I am not responsible for that in Kids Creek. Okay. All right. So like I said, we hit different at Christmas. You can see that we have an upside down Christmas tree. We have snowballs, and we have this. Do you want to talk about this tree that's in the cafe?
In the Connection Cafe, one of the things that has really been on my heart for the last few weeks has been the homeless that are outside and cold.
Yeah.
And I went looking for something, and do I really need 5 scarves, 10 gloves? How many coats? Now, I know in Michigan we need 4 basic coats,
Sure.
to get through all the weather, but our coat closet for the 2 of us is packed. And what Mikkel is okayed is that upside down tree in the Connection Cafe. I encourage you to go home. Do you have an extra pair of mittens or gloves, pair of socks? Go buy a pack of socks.
Yeah.
The things that the homeless might need. And I guess I'm going to be doing it is every Monday morning, take everything off the tree, put it in a box, and take it to the park downtown.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to let God take it from there. If they use it, if they sell it, whatever.
Right. Well,
that's not for us. So I encourage you to clean out a few closets this week and see if you've got
next
something.
next week when you bring it in, you can help us decorate the tree each week fresh by hanging up your gloves, your scarves, your hats, whatever you've got. You can hang it up on that tree, and so each week we can celebrate it's decorated new, and so you'll have that every week. Yeah. So thank you, Teresa, for leading us in that way. Yeah. All right. You should have gotten a program when you came in, and this has a connection card. Whether you have been here, whether it's your first week or you've been here for years and years and years, go ahead and pull that out. Write your name, your email address on it. If any of your information has changed, then update us on that. This is just a way that we can connect with you. If you're like, I don't know what's going on, fill this out, and then we can let you know what's going on in the church. Okay, next. We do selfies.
Oh, yes.
Selfie of the week. Here we go. All right. Pull out your phone, snap a selfie, post it to social media with the hashtag SCCMI, or you can tag us on Instagram, Sycamore Creek Church MI. This week, our selfie of the week is from Mark and Bonnie Raymond. Look at they did such a good job getting so many people behind them. I love that so much. It's just like, here's our church. Here it is. So maybe next week you could be featured as our selfie of the week if you post it, or you can even email us at office@sycamorecreekchurch.org if you don't have social media. This week, we are wrapping up our series on the greatness principle, and we have a message this morning about generosity. And For a couple of segments of this morning's message, we're going to hear from Pastor Tom, who's our pastor over at Eastwood. And if you've been here for a while, then he used to be the pastor here at South Lansing, so many of you are familiar with him. So our message this morning begins with this.
Deep inside each of us is a longing, a yearning for greatness. We want to know the world is different because we have lived. We want to make our mark. We want to be remembered for something beyond average, something great. But how do we get there? In this practical and inspiring series, we'll encourage you to take the next step on your journey towards a full, abundant life. We'll help you get connected to others, to God, and to your greater purpose through service. You can be great. You can matter. You can find the purpose and significance you are longing for. Join us for this 4-week series on the greatness principle.
Well, today I want to talk about being great when it comes to generosity. But first, I want to just celebrate something. Our videographer, Randy Flick, had a baby. And so today, my son Micah is being the videographer. Hi. So give a shout out to Randy in the comments. And he does such an amazing job. We celebrate the birth of Malcolm with you today and to your family. So as we talk about generosity today, I want to take a detour first through emotions. I took an emotions class in college. It was like a intersection between philosophy department and the psychology department. We spent an entire semester studying emotions and what is an emotion. For example, just trying to describe what an emotion is a pretty significant challenge. And the professor of that class, he had a great name. He was Rob Roberts, or Bob Roberts. Had the same first name and last name. And he had written a book about emotions that we read, and he suggested some other books about emotions. And one of the books that we read was called Descartes' Error, and it was by a guy named Antonio Damasio. And Damasio argued that emotions are entirely biologically based. It's caused by biology, it's caused by your genetics, it's based in your body, an emotion. Bob Roberts had a different definition of an emotion. For Bob, or Dr. Roberts as we called him, an emotion was a concern-based construal. And he had written a book about this. That book was called Emotions, an Essay in Aid of Moral Psychology. Doesn't that make you want to read his book? What I learned was that trying to describe emotions is so complicated. And it's hard to describe anything when it comes to human experience without some reference to nature, that is our genetics, and nurture, that is our environment. Now, back to generosity. Our nature and our nurture both work against us when it comes to being generous. Nature plus nurture equals a strong drive not to be generous to others. We want to be generous with others, but our nature, that is our instinct for self-preservation, keeps us from sharing our resources, and our nurture, that is our environment, the sort of materialistic, capitalistic society and culture that we live in, tells us to keep it all for ourselves. I think in my own life, an example is when I'm out at the grocery store shopping for the tiny pantry, that is the pantry outside of our church that people come and you can leave a little or take a little, or leave a lot and take a lot. And when I'm buying something for that, I will have been spending like $200 on groceries for our family, but then I fret over spending just like 10 or 15 bucks on an item for the tiny pantry. So here's a question for you to talk about. Put your answer in the comments or turn to somebody next to you and answer this question. Where are you most likely to be generous with your financial resources, spending money on someone else? Take a minute and let's talk about that.
So I'm curious what you all were talking about. I'd love to hear your stories. I feel like for me, I struggle sometimes with like the spontaneous gifts, like that come up sometimes, but I enjoy like setting something that's recurring. For instance, we support like a child through Compassion International, and so that comes out every month. And then I think Nathan knows this. Like I opted for like the birthday present and the Christmas present too, so that like that automatically comes out at those times of year, and I don't have to think about it, but it's like a little bit extra at those times. How about you, Teresa?
Well, we actually have a line item for giving to some need that may come up. And yet, I admit it's really hard after so many years of being told, save for retirement, save, save, save. Now we're in retirement, and we met with our financial advisors, you're not spending enough. And so trying to, when there's a need to just, yes, we can do this.
Yeah.
We're not going to be eating dog food next week. So,
Right.
we're doing fine.
Yeah, I think it takes some practice. It takes some like reminders that we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to the next segment of today's message. Tom was talking about, he introduced this idea of nature and nurture and how both of those work together to drive us to not be generous. And so what do we do with that? If we want to live lives of generosity, we need a rebirth. We need a rebirth in both our nature and our nurture. We need a rebirth in our nature, and that comes through Christ. And then in our nurture, we need it like a new environment, a new group of people who are encouraging us to be generous. Paul says in a letter to the church in Rome, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think. That's that rebirth. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So this is rebirth in what concerns you, in what things catch your attention, your values and attitudes, the way that you understand situations around you. It's a whole new emotional outlook. It's a new nature. It's transformation. And how does it happen? Well, it happens through Christ. And it can start with a simple prayer that just says something like, God, I know that I haven't been all that I wanted to be, much less what you wanted me to be. I've done harm to myself and to those around me, and I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? God, help me to live a different way. That can be the start of something. And you can mark that rebirth through something like baptism or the affirmation of baptism, just by recognizing what God has already done in you. And then baptism is like entrance into that family of God. It's the nurture part of people coming around you. We've learned this throughout the series that the greatness principle is when you bless others, God blesses you. And we are not talking about this in a formulaic kind of way. All right. So Paul says to the church in Corinth, remember this, a farmer who plants only a few seeds will get a small crop. That makes sense, right? But the one who plants generously will then get a generous crop. You must each decide in your heart how much to give, and don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure, for God loves a person who gives cheerfully. Now, depending on how you were raised or what experiences you've had, you might hear that and think, I've got to like screw my heart up into some kind of thing that doesn't feel natural so that I can give cheerfully. I don't think that's the invitation. I think the invitation here is for us to like shake it all out and like, all right, God, what can I comfortably give? What feels right? What can I give freely? What can I give with a cheerful attitude? Like, start there and then let that lead you. Let God talk to you about that instead of like, I have to give this much and I have to be happy about it. Like, I don't think that really works when we sort of bypass that process of actually getting there, right? Now, that phrase, giving cheerfully, it comes from the root word from which we get hilarious. Right? Have you ever given or been so generous that like you just wanted to laugh out loud? Like, it was just ridiculous. It was hilarious. There was a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, that I was here on a weeknight, and I was here for a neighborhood association meeting because about every 3 months it sort of rotates, and the Scott Woods Neighborhood Association meets here in our building. And I try to show up when I can because our church is in the neighborhood. I live in the neighborhood. That's a great way to get connected. So I show up for this meeting, and downstairs in our basement, Peppermint Creek is rehearsing. And then while we're here, like, the band comes in to rehearse. And so there's like 3 different groups of people. The parking lot is full, and the building is like stuffed with people who are serving the church, who are serving our neighborhood, who are serving the community. It was an amazing, like, just chance to reflect on how, like, we have this building and we can use it freely. We can give it freely to our community. And it just reminds me of this, like, we've been talking about how we hit different. And one of the ways we hit different is platforming artists and entrepreneurs and giving a space for local theater groups to rehearse and other things like that. Continuing on with what Paul was talking about, Paul said, God will generously provide all you need, and then you will always have everything you need and plenty left over to share with others. Now, again, this can be tricky, because when we're talking about this greatness principle that when you bless others, God blesses you, and you read verses like that, it can be easy to think, if I do this, God will do this, everything will be good, right? But we're not talking about the health and wealth gospel. We're not talking about some kind of formula by which you increase your own wealth by giving things away. This is about the blessing is sometimes a change in you, that you become content with less. A lot of times that's what is happening. It's an inward change that actually, like, I'm okay with less because I've given it away. There's a verse in Proverbs where the writer says, give me neither poverty nor riches. So we're not talking about giving until you're living in poverty. And if you're living in poverty, then maybe now's not the time to, like, start giving sacrificially or giving above and beyond, right? Like, we're not shooting for poverty, but we're also not shooting for riches. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Give me just enough to satisfy my needs. For if I grow rich, I may deny you and say, who is the Lord? Like, I don't need you, right? And if I'm too poor, then I may steal and thus insult God's holy name. So we're looking for somewhere in between, somewhere in the middle, as we're striking this balance and seeking the greatness principle, which is when you bless others, God blesses you. Now, I think most of us are pretty good at doing at least one thing, which is looking out for ourselves. I mean, Tom mentioned it. Like, this is like a self-preservation instinct. We all are born with this instinct to look out for ourselves. And there's something that's actually like, I mean, it's a survival tactic. But I also think that as we reflect on who Jesus is, we know what real love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. And we also ought to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters. We can find safety in ourselves and in Jesus, who Jesus is. And from that place, freely choose to give self-sacrificially. We can give of ourselves as we find safety in ourselves, right? So that's like not bypassing the self-preservation instinct. It's acknowledging it, finding safety in ourselves and in Jesus, and then choosing to live a different way. Because we know that Jesus is this ideal of love. Jesus is love, and Jesus gave of himself. And so we can follow that example. In 1 John, we read, if someone has enough money to live well and sees a brother or sister in need, but shows no compassion, how can God's love be in that person? Dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let's show the truth by our actions, right? I know we can probably think of people who fit this description, right? The people who say they love God, and then they're like not very nice people. The truth is probably each one of us have been there too. It's easier for me to think about the other people who have been in that space, but like I probably have done that too. But we can learn to live sacrificially, to experience that true love that's not just performative justice, right? It's not just playing at being just. It's like actually sacrificially just. Real justice that changes the way we live so that others around us thrive. It's this idea of Jesus and justice being super important in the ways that we live our lives. So let's pause for another chat question. What's one opportunity that you have in your life right now to bless others financially? Let's take a moment and talk about that. So I kind of feel like the obvious answer here is the Christmas offering challenge. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that you all have some other like personal ideas that are coming to mind, some people who are coming to mind that you're like, this person has a need, I think I can fill it. And also, if you're wondering, like, we've got this Christmas offering challenge, and this is a challenge, we're going to talk more about it in the next segment, but like where you give away as much as you spend on Christmas. Now, last year was the first time we had heard of this, and we're still working up to it. I'm not even going to lie to you. So if you're sitting there thinking, whoa, that is a lot. That is a big sacrifice. That's a huge change. Like, I'm there with you, and we're still working up to it. We're not quite there yet. I wonder what came to mind for you when you heard this question?
Well, I had a lunch this week with a friend, and she just desperately needs a car. And the thought of just going out and buying her a car just seems way beyond anything I feel we could do. But
right. But there's a question there of like, how could you support her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So if anybody knows an inexpensive car, let me know.
That's good to think about. All right, so for our next segment, we're going to go back to hear from Tom.
Our nature and our nurture both build up to a lack of being generous with others. One of my favorite books that I've read in the last many years is Chip and Dan Heath's book titled Switch, How to Make Change When Change is Hard. And they describe the process of changing as helping a rider on an elephant go down a path. The rider is our intellect, the elephant is our emotions, and the path is how easy the whole thing is. And if you're gonna help somebody change, you have to speak to the rider. You have to speak clearly, intellectually, about what it is that you want changed. But you have to help the rider to move the elephant, because the elephant is huge. Like, the rider can steer them only for so long. And one of the best ways to motivate the elephant is to make the path easy. You help the rider and the elephant go down the right path if you make it easy. When it comes to being generous, the rider for each of us is that, well, God loves a cheerful giver. And be transformed by the renewing of your mind, as Paul says in both places. But when it comes to the elephant, we got to help you motivate that as well. The emotions come when you construe the situation differently, when you bring a different set of values to the circumstances around you. And the path is having a community around you to help you and support you and encourage you and challenge you to go down that path together and not just by yourself. Again, here's the greatness principle. When you bless others, God blesses you. And then there's a challenge that we've been putting before you throughout this whole series. We're challenging you to look at opportunities or look for opportunities to bless people every single day. And this comes to a really unique moment for us at this time of the year. Because at this time of the year, as we head into Christmas, every year Sycamore Creek puts a challenge before each one of us to be generous. And we call that the Christmas Offering Challenge. The challenge is to give away at Christmas as much as you spend on celebrating Christmas. So if you spend $100 to buy gifts and host parties, then give away $100. If you spend $200, then give $200 away. If you spend $1,000, give $1,000 away. It's a big challenge, right? And for some of us, we have the extra finances that we can just adjust our budgets to give away as much as we spend on Christmas. But for some of the rest of us, it's kind of a self-sacrificial challenge that you have to cut your spending in half so that you have the other half to give away. So when we as a church receive this Christmas offering, we spend the whole next year giving it away. And there's 3 places that we give it away. We give it away to our care ministries, we give it away to local missions, and we give it away to global missions. Now, when it comes to our care ministries or care missions, Tom Fox, our care pastor, is covered by this offering. Tom visits people in the hospitals. He helps people with emergency needs for utility bills, and the funds for those utility bills come from this Christmas offering. Pastor Tom Fox is basically like our first responder in emergency situations. So another way that we spend this Christmas offering over the next year is in our local missions, and that means in a lot of ways supporting our local schools. For our Eastwood campus, it's our Post Oak Academy. For our South Lansing campus, it's the Mount Hope STEAM School. And at Potterville, it's, well, the whole Potterville School District. Here at Eastwood, we bought cookies for volunteer days to support the Parent-Teacher Association that's helping clean the school up. We bought some supplies for different teachers, like a rug for the new preschool teacher at Post Oak. But we don't just do missions to our local schools. We do it in a lot of different ways. We give away gas on Mardi Gras. On Maundy, Thursday, we find some way to tie washing into serving, like providing free laundry or washing cars. In the fall, some of our campuses do Pumpkin Palooza or Pumpkin Patio, where we create an urban pumpkin patch and give away 1,000 pumpkins to our neighbors. At Eastwood, we have a tiny pantry to provide for people's basic necessities, and we have a community garden that all of the food that's grown there goes to local food banks. These are just some of the local missions that we support with the Christmas offering over the next year. So the Christmas offering goes to support our care ministries, it goes to support local missions, but it also goes to support global missions. We have almost a 2-decade relationship with Dr. Mir in Nicaragua, who we have in the past done medical missions trips down with her. Although lately with the political situation in the country, we haven't been able to do those trips, but we do still provide money for her church to buy food for 40 to 50 kids every day. And in that way, we're feeding kids and families who wouldn't have meals otherwise. But we also are part of the United Methodist Church. So when we think about global missions, our supporting of missions in the United Methodist Church reaches across the entire globe in all places and all sorts of countries around our whole earth. So our Christmas offering challenge to give away as much as you spend on Christmas, that has grown from the very beginning of Sycamore Creek's history. Back at the very first year, in 2001, we received $603 and we gave it all away. Fast forward many years, and in 2020, we received $31,000, And in 2021, we received $40,800, almost $41,000. And in large part, the big jump there was because there was a nonprofit in Potterville that closed, and they had about $5,000 or $6,000 left in the bank account. And they thought, who can we give this money to that it will make the greatest impact? And they thought, you know, that Sycamore Creek in Potterville will be the best place to receive this money. Isn't that amazing? When nonprofits in your local community think that you are the best way for money to be given to the community to bless others, thank you, God. Last year in 2022, we received $33,260. $33,000 last year. That's coming out of COVID. I mean, the amazing generosity of our church. That, friends, is hilarious. Now, when you add all of it up over all of the years, Sycamore Creek has given $281,260. $281,000. That's amazing that this little church that has grown into 3 small campuses has been able to be that generous, over $250,000. How much will we receive in 2023? Oh, I'm not sure, but I'm going to put a goal out there. I'm going to put the goal of $35,000. We've got 3 campuses. I think we can hit that. In fact, I think we could blow past it. And then imagine with me, what will God do through Sycamore Creek to be generous, to bless others generously in 2024? Only God knows. Now, I know if you're hearing this Christmas offering challenge idea for the first time, it probably feels a little overwhelming. And I want you to know that most families can't just jump right into it. There's like an onboarding that has to happen. And a lot of times you have to talk to your family and readjust expectations. And that sometimes can take years. And that's okay, because we're going to do it again next year, and the next year, and the next year. So take some step this year to take that challenge, to live into this idea that you would give away as much as you spend on Christmas. Now here's a question for you to talk about. How does the Christmas offering challenge hit you? Let's talk.
I feel like there's a simplicity here in the challenge to give away as much as you spend, and it's like really compelling. And it's also really hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's really hard. I mean, we have 15 nieces and nephews, and we still like aunts and uncles get for all the nieces and nephews, and it's like a whole thing. And yeah, it's like a lot to think about. Like how would this actually look for our family in real life, on paper? Where does the money come from? Even as I can say, like, oh, the simplicity of it, like, is really compelling.
It was interesting. We had Thanksgiving with our kids yesterday, and it's like, well, what do we want to do, for a Christmas gift? And they said, we don't need anything. And maybe we just need to follow up, and the money we would have spent on, an overnight at Kalahari, we just give that away, and they get a little card that said, this is your gift. We gave the money away.
Yeah. I think sometimes it will take us acting in those ways and thinking about those things in a new way. And trusting our family to be okay with things.
And yet I feel guilty because we're supposed to give our kids and our grandkids Christmas presents. And I'll do their pajamas, but part of it is I've already bought them. So,
Yeah. So I think what's interesting for us to reflect on is this idea of this classic measure of a church's effectiveness is if we disappeared, would our neighborhood, would our community notice, and would they miss us? Would our neighborhood notice, and would they miss us? I am really, really thankful to be coming into Sycamore Creek, South Lansing at a time when there's already like 20 years of that being a major part of how Sycamore Creek thinks about itself and like who Sycamore Creek wants to be. So I'm not having to like change a lot there, right? I'm like benefiting from all that you've done. Tom shared this email, I want to read it to you, from a teacher from Mount Hope STEAM School. So Mount Hope is this pile of rubble that's across the street. They moved, so Mount Hope still exists. They're meeting at a different building in Lansing. And in I think summer of 2025, they're hoping that the building will be ready. And so this is like in our neighborhood. This is the school that like we have wanted to partner with and help. And so this teacher was talking to Tom a couple of years ago and said this stuff. And he said, can you send that in an email? I want to share this with the people of Sycamore Creek. And so I want to read this to you. It's from Kelly Funk. When you, meaning Sycamore Creek Church, moved into the neighborhood, Scott Woods, it was clear you wanted to become a part of the neighborhood. What I so appreciate is how you've gone about doing that. There's a difference between having a church in the neighborhood and a neighbor that happens to be a church. And to me, the latter is the more meaningful relationship. You embrace the neighborhood, and you allow the neighborhood to embrace you right back, and that's the harder part. And so you settled in and found your place and became a true part of us. And so you do not help, but you offer. You do not fix, but you give. And you offer and you give out of true generosity with no strings attached. That kind of sincerity creates space for people to embrace you back in the ways that they're able to, the ways they're most comfortable with, the ways that are meaningful to them. I can offer an example from my own life. We're not members of your church, but in many ways, I still feel as though Sycamore Creek is our church, just like Mount Hope STEAM is our school. And so I do participate with you as a neighbor. I feel very comfortable dropping in on your services from time to time, even though I will never do more than that. But at the same time, you've made room for me to include Sycamore Creek Church in some of my own ever-evolving rituals and traditions, like attending your Christmas Eve service, in order to be part of contributing to the special collection you take up, because I know that money does good work for people where it matters most. It's my way of helping my neighbor, and you not only allow me to do that, you welcome it. So thank you, Sycamore Creek, for being that kind of church, for being that kind of community that wants to care for, offer help for, be a place for our community. You know, Tom mentioned some of the stuff that Eastwood does. And this past year, we got a chance to do totes for teachers from the Christmas Eve offering. And so that was like, we put together tote bags that were full of supplies for the teachers at Mount Hope School. I took my daughter to Costco and used money that you all had given, partly from the Christmas offering challenge, and then partly also like above and beyond gifts that were for that specific thing. And we bought a ton of snacks, like a lot of snacks. and then we went and delivered them to Mount Hope and just blessed the teachers in that first couple of weeks of like, you're putting in long hours, for getting meals, like the cafeteria is not up and running. So like, we just had all of that there. And that's what you all do. That's what you're part of as you give to this offering. And I'm really thankful to be part of a church that's like, if we disappeared, I think our neighborhood would miss us. So thanks for being that kind of church. So as we continue on with the service, we're going to talk about some of the ways that you can continue to get involved and be part of what's going on here. We want to connect with you. We think you want to connect with us. So pull that connection card back out, flip it over. We've got some next steps here, some ways that you can take steps. You can join a team. You can begin praying about how you might participate in this Christmas offering challenge. Think about who you might want to invite. Who's the teacher in your life who might want to come and be part of a Christmas celebration? We've got a lot going on. We actually have cards at the back that have our South Lansing Christmas stuff on them. So if you're like, you might take more than one so that you can give them away. And you can sign up to help make our Christmas events happen. You can also write any prayer requests you have. If there's anything going on in your life and you're like, I'd like other people to know about that. Maybe you'd like someone to come and visit you in the hospital. Maybe something's going on and you're just like, I'd like other people to be praying about that. Go ahead and write that down. We've got a team of people who would love to be praying for you and with you this week. We also have our serve sheets. Those are in your programs, and on the back is how you can sign up for these Christmas things that are going on. If you're like, I can't commit to much, but I'm an extrovert who likes to talk to people, there's a place for you.
Or if you're quiet and you just want to get all the lights, all these trees need to get plugged in. The snowballs all need to be picked up.
Exactly.
There's always something
There's
to do,
always something.
And without people doing it, it won't happen.
Exactly.
And we want to have everything ready for that person that decides they want to take a chance and stop in.
Yeah. Our serve challenge this week. So every week we try to have a place to challenge you that you can jump in and serve. We've been talking about this all month in the Greatness Principle. Is one of these first serve opportunities. So just step into a place. It's a way for you to get involved, to have ownership of what's going on here and be connected, even make new friends and meet people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've been talking about how we hit different at Christmas. Anybody? Yeah. Okay. Here's some of those things that we've got going on. We're starting with Christmas karaoke. So if you have favorite Christmas songs, which I know you do, come and share them. You do not have to be a good singer to have fun at karaoke. So this is going to be at Ellison down in Rio Town. We have Genesis who's coming to do the DJing for that. It's going to be just a party. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a Family Winter Wonderland at Fenner Nature Center. Don't worry, it's enclosed. It is heated. We are not going to be outside, except that if it's not snowing, we're going to do s'mores after that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got Christmas in a pub. We're going back to Buddies. We've got a long-standing relationship with Buddies. We love doing stuff there. So that's Thursday, December 21st. Free burger and fries for first-time guests. So if this is your first time going to Buddies with us, we will buy you a burger and fries. Candlelight Christmas here, Sunday, December 24th at 10:30 a.m. So that's our typical Sunday morning time, and that's just going to be what we're doing. The last thing that I want you to know about is Sunday, December 31st. We will not be here in this building. We're meeting at Eastwood that day. So that is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a party after the service. So if you've got kids and you're like, those little people are not staying up till midnight, you can invite them to have a countdown at noon with all of their favorite people, and it's going to be amazing. You can also plan to join us like we've been talking about for the Christmas Offering Challenge. However you choose to give, we're really thankful. We've got lots of ways that you can give in the envelopes and the blue buckets. You can give online. You can scan the QR code. We've been talking about some of the things that your giving does, but this past week, We had hanging of the greens. We decorated the church. Teresa was a huge part of like making the plan. Yes, it was amazing. I think it looks really good in here. So that's part of what your giving helps to do is to help do things like that. We had pizza. We had a really good time. Okay, one last shout out question. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the Grinch, 5 being Buddy the Elf, how much Christmas spirit do you have? 3? 5. Wow.
4.
4?
Singing the songs today really helped.
I think that did help. That helped me too.
Especially that Joy to the World. That was
maybe
really
sitting
cool.
at like a 2.
Okay.
Which maybe I'm
Michael
not
is
supposed
overwhelmed.
to say. But the songs are helping. So we actually have another couple of songs to sing. So stand with me for that.
Take me back to the garden. Lead me back to the moment I heard your voice. Take me back to communion. Lead me back to the moment I saw your face. And it was all so simple. You're so easy to love. With no space between us, it was easy to trust. 'Cause you are closer, closer than my skin. You are in the air I'm breathing in. It's where the dead things come back to living. I feel my heart beating again. It feels so good to know you are my friend. This is the garden. Here is the place I find you close. This is communion. This is the place I'm fully known. And it was all so simple. You're so easy to love. With no space between us, you're so easy to trust. 'Cause you are closer, closer than my skin. You are in the air I'm breathing in. It's where the dead things come back to living. And I feel my heart beating again. Yes, it feels so good to know you are my friend. This is where I'm meant to be. Me and you and me. And I don't have to prove a thing. You've already approved of me. Yeah. This is where I'm meant to be. Me and you and me. And I don't have to prove a thing. You've already approved of me. Yeah. 'Cause you are closer, closer than my skin. You are in the air I'm breathing in. Here's where the dead things come back to living. and I feel my heart beating again. Yes, it feels so good to know that you are closer, closer than my skin. You are in the air I'm breathing in. This way the dead things come back to living, and I feel my heart beating again. Yes, it feels so good to know you are my friend. Yes, it feels so good to know you are my friend.
I think it's one of the beauties of the Christmas season is remembering that God is Emmanuel. God comes to us. God is close to us. And yeah, it's just this beautiful reminder, like closer than our skin, closer than we imagine, maybe a little close. It feels uncomfortable sometimes, but it's a beautiful thing that God is that close to us. So we're going to finish out with the hymn, "O Come All Ye Faithful." So let's sing this out together.
Oh, come all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing, choirs of angels, sing in exaltation. Oh, sing, all ye citizens of heaven above. Glory to God, glory in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Yea, Lord, we greet thee, born this happy morning. Oh, Jesus, to thee be all glory given. Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Christ the Lord.
Well, if that doesn't get you in the Christmas spirit, I don't know what will. Thanks for joining us this morning. Come back next week as we start a new series called Missing Peace. Our message will be on whether peace is even possible, right, in this 2024. So we hope to see you next week. Until then, be curious, creative, and compassionate. Go in peace.
I didn't do it.